My next guest I had the privilege to sit down with is a musical artist, and they make music under the alias 1000%. They are also a leader, an activist, and an innovator. This was a really beautiful episode. And within this episode, we discuss spiritual balance, having peace within, and manifesting and creating the realities around you. This is also an episode that goes to show you that one, everything happens for a reason, and two, that the universe has your back, and that things are often laid out in ways that we don't understand when they're being laid out. But towards the end, when all the pieces come together and all the pieces intersect, we get a better and clearer understanding of what were the things that happened previously, right? So we kind of get a better understanding and a meaning of things. So this was a really beautiful episode. I hope that you enjoy. Hello and welcome to Dem Bois Podcast. I'm your host, Zyon Aijon, he, him, his, and I will be your guide throughout this journey on the show. This show is a platform where trans men of color voices will be amplified as we share our stories. Trans men of color are not monolithic. What that means is our journeys are not the same. We come from different backgrounds. We have different stories, family relations, chosen family, and most of all, we have different transition journeys. Visibility equals possibility. I like to say that all the time. We like to highlight on this show trans men of color businesses and entrepreneurs, parents, athletes, survivors, and many other issues and topics that are relatable to trans men of color in our existence. Dem Bois Podcast is not only a platform to amplify our voices, but to raise awareness and conversation around our lived experiences. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting, listening, and sharing the show. Welcome to Dem Bois Podcast. I'm your host, Zyon Aijon, he, him, his. My next guest is a musical artist, a leader, an activist, and innovator. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor. I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, definitely. It's a pleasure to have you here. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself for folks?
Absolutely. So my name is Zyon. I'm also known by my music name as 1000%. And on my social media platforms, I go by Gifted Young One. And I'm a Black man of trans experience. I'm an overall artist. I'm into music, into photography, videography, filmmaking, and everything in between.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. What is your pronouns?
Pronouns he, him, his. Yes, all things masculine. Yes.
Got you. So where are you located?
I'm out in Georgia. Currently, I'm out in the South, but I'm from Connecticut originally. I was born in Bridgeport, for the people who know where that's at. But yeah, I'm born in Bridgeport originally, but I'm out in the Georgia area. I'm currently out in the South.
Got you. What took you to Georgia? What brought you there?
Mostly, I kind of just ended up here. I landed here and it aligned in such a way. I never would have thought I'd be living out here. I was living in the Carolinas for a while, and just work led me out here. Initially, I moved to the South for family, and then I ended up just going to school out here and kind of just been down here. It almost felt stuck in a way, but I gotta realize, I have a choice in everything in life. But at the same time, I ended up staying down in the South for a while, and I ended up moving to Georgia for work. And now I'm kind of building out a plan so I can go from working, full time to working for myself again. I used to work for myself and I have my own business, but now I'm trying to get back to that in a way that's more just strategic this time around.
So you want to plan for it this time?
Yes, sir.
I like that. So are you liking Georgia right now?
Yeah, I'm liking it. It's a little different from the other parts of the South. I've dealt with kind of discrimination in the South, especially North Carolina and South Carolina, but it's out here, it's a different energy to it. The history is really deep rooted and it shows in so many ways. So it's kind of in your face. And it's a good and a bad thing. It's a bad thing obviously because it don't feel good to be treated that way, or to have that kind of stuff in your face. But it's a good thing because it brings out a lot. Like, I'm very much an activist, and it makes me want to stand up and let these people know, like, I'm not who you think I am. Like, I'm gonna be the example, and I'm gonna lead for my people, and let these people know that we're free. Like, I'm a free person. I'm gonna live and exist no matter what you think about me, no matter how you feel about my skin, because I can't help that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to be me at the end of the day. So just being out here has just what opened my eyes again to how people are, like, and how people think, especially about Black people as just a whole. So yeah, that's how it's been in Georgia. I've faced a lot so far being out here.
Do you have any particular experiences that stand out to you more than others about the experiences of living in the South?
Yes. I mean, on top of being trans, like, in North Carolina, there was an experience where I had been discriminated against by a manager. And it was a privately owned business, so they kind of handled things internally and didn't really do much about it. But that's one experience. But that's on the aspect of, like, being trans. That was early in my transition, so it was kind of and it's in their faces, like, as I'm transitioning and letting them know and standing on my identity and saying, like, no, these are my pronouns. I don't care what you think about me or how you see me, but this is who I am. Like, there are people who are going to buck up against that. And that is what I've faced, like, firsthand in, like, the Carolinas and the South. But then getting over to where I'm at now, it's kind of different. Like, like, I had a situation recently where there was a newer coworker that came in, and they wanted me to help show them the ropes and everything about, how to get just train them a little bit on the job, and trying to keep them on track. So randomly, the lady, she shows me this book, and it's about the history of how over 1,000 people. So where I work at, the county used to be a Black town, but it got burned down and bombed and, wiped out to literally a crisp, and was taken over by white people. And then it became a white town, and they started gatekeeping it, trying to keep Black families out and things like that. So there's a whole book about that, and she decided to show me this book in the middle of our shift, as if it'd be something I'd be interested in. Like, it's Black History Month, so I know for sure I would not be interested in that. But because that ain't my history, that's your history. Like, so she decided to show me that in the middle of our shift. Throughout the shift until she left, I tried to keep it as cordial as possible, but after, I was done. And that was probably one of the worst experiences I've ever had, like, with a racial interaction in that way. Like, and it was played off like it was just kind of like a coincidence, or the lady was just trying to share some information with me. But I'm like, that's just kind of, it's passive aggressive intimidation. Like, she's trying to make a point by showing me that, okay, this is what this town does. Like, but at the end of the day, like, I'm still gonna be here. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that was a hurtful experience, I would say, because I felt that, like, I don't struggle with sleep and stuff like that, but I literally was struggling sleeping, dealing with that situation, because I just felt really unsafe.
Sorry you had to go through that. It's like people don't realize the ignorant things that they do, and then there's a time and a place for everything. And at work is not the time nor the place for anything of that nature. So do you think she was trying to, like, educate you a bit, or she was trying to maybe, like, promote some kind of fear or intimidation?
I'm not really sure where the intention like was coming from, because I don't see any basis for it. Like, I think maybe she just ignorant and felt like it wouldn't affect me that much. But it's like, if you're taught that, if it was in the reverse, it would have been an issue. Like, if I brought in a book about how a Black group, you like, say the Black Panthers, slaughtered over 1,000 white people, that would be an issue for me to bring that into work and then to show that to somebody. Like, I don't know where the intention would lie. It has to be, for me, it has to be some sort of, like, bad intention, because there's no way that would be, like, positive. So I'm not sure where it was coming from. The lady tried to make it seem like, it wasn't that. And, she just felt like it was within the conversation. of what was going on up front, but I'm like, and like it, nah, it just don't make sense. So I just feel like she was kind of playing dumb, but I feel like she knew what she was doing. She's a grown person, so
Did you know the history of the town before she brought that up to you?
Yeah, I did. I
Okay.
did. Cause my family, when I told them where I was gonna be at, they're like warning me about the history and how crazy it is and just to beware. Like, and before that incident, before she did that, there was somebody who came in and threatened one of our other black coworkers. He was like he claimed to be a Klan member and he threatened him and and my facility ended up like telling him he can't come back to our facility. Like the person who threatened my coworker is like, you can't come back here. You need to find somewhere else to go. Like, so it's like they handled that. And I appreciate them for being like sticking beside me throughout this because, being in the town they are, I mean, I feel like, I thought they would take the sides of the people who are the majority there, but it's like they really are about not discriminating and making sure that nobody who is discriminating is within that space. So luckily I work for a company that is good about that, but unfortunately I will still have those interactions randomly.
Yeah. What's the name of the town?
It's called Cumming. It's Cumming, Georgia.
Yeah, I'm sorry
If
that.
you do the history, you know about Lake Lanier and all
Yes.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
all that.
Yes. Well, for folks that don't know and that are listening, so maybe you can, if you want to learn more about that, you can go, a Google search, and I'm sure that, obviously there's books. The lady showed you one, right? So it's
Right, clearly. But
like,
there are actually like black educators out there speaking about it. There's a guy named Kaba Kamane, and he is actually a great educator. He's a teacher of a lot of black history, but that he speaks a lot about Lake Lanier and like the actual roots and about Oscarville, the original town and things like that. So actually like, actually learning the history around, black people having foundations and roots and big towns and actually their own market and things like that. As far as finances and stuff, like we had our own stuff, but it's like it's good to know your history. That's they're like
absolutely.
really with the laws going out currently and trying to block black history and ban black history from schools. It's like really important to stay educated and self-aware of who you are and not to forget where we came from so we can stand strong, because at the end of the day they try to erase all the negative stuff that is done that'll make you see you know certain groups of people in a better light than they should be put in. But yeah.
And we're in the age of information, and whatever
Hmm.
it is that you want to find out, you can go searching and find out the truth for yourself and not
Hmm.
listen to what one perspective of it, right? And that lady was coming from a one-sided type of a perspective.
Right.
And so we can go and we can look at, both sides of stories and all sides of the stories just by researching, Googling, and finding black educators, as you said. And
Hmm.
I watched the documentary. That's how I learned about it. So I definitely know what you're talking about. So I want to ask you, just to share with us your transition journey, where from wherever you feel comfortable starting, but what led up to where you are now and who you are now as a person.
Yeah, so I grew up and I was raised by a lot of women, like my great grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, and I had a lot of father figures that were supportive, but all in all, I was raised by women. But in my childhood, like appearance wise, I was being mistaken for a little boy as a kid, like and people would call like adults, they would call me, oh, you look so handsome, and as a kid I would go like uh, I'm a girl, like as because this is what I'm being told. I'm like, well, my mom and them, they said I'm a girl, so this is what I got to tell you. But it's like over time I started to like just I had a weird perspective on gender. Like for me, my mom, like she'll tell you all, like she would tell anybody, like she's raised me as like pretty much non-binary. She didn't raise me as a little girl. She didn't raise me as a little boy. She just raised me as a kid to really like just really appreciate life, to live it to the fullest, to do everything I want to do, to expand and explore on the things that I want to, so I know what I want in this life. So like it started like when I was really young. I didn't really have like much of an idea of gender. Then growing up, like I would say even high school, I had a YouTube channel called The Mighty Skater Girl. Like you think I would have had a grasp on being a girl, but then again, I really didn't. In the gaming community, if you know about gamers, it's not really like saturated with a lot of girls. So it's like it's like you're easily picked out of the crowd and things like that. And I just really didn't have a grasp on gender. I just felt like I was I felt like I was me, but even when I get into college and stuff like that, I was learning more about trans folks. And I even wrote an essay on just like trans rights and trans equality and things like that. Not even realizing, I'm writing for myself, I'm protecting myself, I'm and not realizing. But once I got out of college, I started to kind of find myself a lot more. And I came to the realization of like my gender identity. And I told my mom, I'm like, look, like, I feel like I'm a trans man and I want to take this journey. I want to explore it. We start with these pronouns. And my mom, she even spoke to me like, and she's like, she even showed me the name that she was going to name me if she had a son, because she thought she was going to have a son for the longest time. Like before she had me, and this is how I got my name Zyon. She would listen to the song To Zion by Lauryn Hill while she was pregnant with me, like over and over again. She said she would listen to that song like every day. So my name, she wrote it out for me. She's like Zyon Aijon, and that was going to be my name. So I was like, okay, well, if that was going to be my name, that is my name. Like you were going to name me that if the tables were turned, and here we are, and she's able to actually, name her son, so it kind of came full circle in that sense. So um then I started to continue to just explore my transition. She even helped me, like once I started HRT, she helped me with my shots. Like my first 8 shots, I could not do it. I had never injected myself. I wasn't fond of needles, but my mom had been in phlebotomies for almost 10 years. So she knew her way around the needles. She knows she's in the medical field. So she helped me with that. And she's been like a big support throughout my transition. And then, early in my transition, I had a lot of good mentors. I was in a mentorship program, Black Trans mentorship program, that really helped me like create just a foundation for myself and really like just understand that there's nothing wrong with me. Like I am who I am, and like I have to embrace every part of that. Growing up an only child on my mom's side too, like I was blessed with the skill of just diving into introspection and being very introspective like throughout my whole life. So I just know that like I was giving myself the grace to continuously evolve. And I knew that if there was something that I wanted to do for myself, if there was a level of myself that I wanted to become like my higher self, if I see that and I'm gonna strive for that, I know I could become it. So like that's kind of my journey, like rolled out in a very natural way. Things really worked out for me. Like I started HRT August 19th, 2021. I got, top surgery March 9th, 2022. And then like from there, I just continued with my transition. Like and some top surgery for me is something like that was so necessary for me, because like I was binding so much. I was going through gender dysphoria. And I was like, the binder, I mean, I would have kept binding because if it, but at the end of the day, it was my safety that started to be up for at risk, So like I had to go to the hospital one time and get x-rays because I thought I had like broken ribs. Like it just felt so terrible. Like binding, and it's like going without binding did not feel like an option. Like luckily I found trans tape and that like worked for me, like, but then again, like that, even that wasn't doing what it needed to do for me. So like after top surgery, like it was, I felt so free, like I was on the up and up. And like from there, here I am, like I'm continuing from there. I've been on T for since 29 or 2021. So yeah, like that's kind of my journey up until now. And of course, those bumps in the road as I'm like standing on my pronouns, regardless of what people think or how they see me, dealing with those people who would discriminate against me and, misgender me and things like that, and dealing with the like mental turmoil that comes with like people not seeing you, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's really tough, but like just continuing through on my journey, like really did so much for me. And like, I gained so much knowledge, like and wisdom just from my journey alone. And it's like I'm 25. I know there's like a long road ahead of me, but like I feel like I've been through so much. I've lived a couple lifetimes. So that's why I have the name Gifted Young One, is like to remind myself of my youth, remind myself like I have so much more in store for me. Like, but it's great, appreciate where you've been, but also like be enthused about how much is ahead too. So that's kind of my journey so far up until now, really.
25, you speaking like an elder. Like really, like you just, yeah, just the way you communicate about yourself. And it's just showing how sure you are about yourself. And as trans folks, we are sure about ourselves, right? And sometimes
Mhm.
we don't have the language to say it at certain times in our lives. And I want to go back because you said some pretty interesting things to me. And so, first of all, that your mom raised you in kind of this non-binary type of childhood, which I think is absolutely beautiful. And I was talking to one of my friends the other day of how that's impossible for a parent to raise their child in a non-binary household. And so, I'm gonna have to tell him, hey, check out this podcast interview when it comes out,
Mhm.
because they need to know that it is possible. And
It's
I went
possible,
back, we
yeah.
went back and forth about it, but I know that it's possible, right? And so I know you're not a parent, but you experienced it from a child's perspective. How
Mhm.
was that for you growing up in a house where your mom didn't put those type of like gender norm things on you?
It's pretty great. I mean, it took me time to really like, I guess, find myself, but it's like she allowed me that space. Like, of course, it's gonna take time. Obviously, me saying that it's a natural thing, it's going to take time, but like, um, it was actually a great thing. Like, everything that I found and explored about myself and wanted to dive deeper into, my mom didn't like turn me away from it. Like, for example, I'm agnostic. I told my mom I was agnostic like when I was maybe 13 or something like that, and she's only thing she had to say to me was, "Do you know what that means?" And I'm like, "Yes, I know what that means." And she's like, "Okay, all right, go ahead. All right, that's fine. Like, be who you are, and that's okay." Like and it's I feel like it's really just it allowed me so much freedom to a point where I actually know what the feeling of freedom is, because it's literally the fact that I have no like limitations. Like, and I think that's really what that is, like, by me being raised that way. It just, I didn't have limitations. I didn't have expectations. I wasn't expected to dress, look, sound, act a certain way. Like, I was allowed to be exactly who I was, and that allowed me to expand into who I am today, like with no limit. Like, and if there were any limits, it wasn't, with anyone outside of me, it was with myself. So
To say, I don't know your mom, but I love your mom.
she's great.
Like
She's great.
that's amazing. What do you think was your mom's motivation in making that decision when she was raising the child?
So my mom, she's a young mother. She had me at 16. My mom is also queer, so I know like her having limitations from her parents and stuff like that, and seeing what that's done to her, definitely motivated her. And also, she wanted to beat the odds, like, you know what I'm saying? Because as a young mother, a lot of people, they just look down on her. They expected the worst. But my mom read books on free range parenting. Like, my mom had books on just reading about parenting and really being a competent mother, like, and being just a support system for me. Like, even though I was her only child, like, she really invested time into being a good parent to me. So it's just like her motivation was just making sure I was happy, like making sure I had joy. Like, my mom tells me all the time, she wants me to have joy. That's the goal. Like, forget whatever is trying to keep you down. Like, just try to find your joy in life, because that's what's important. Like, at the end of the day, like, is your experience that you have while you're here. So yeah.
Beautiful. So I'm looking at a product of all her reading and all of her just her hard work of raising a child. It's
Hmm.
beautiful.
Absolutely.
Um,
And with structure from my mom is a big part of that, a part of the freeing parts, but then like the more structured parts of myself come from my great grandmother, who really like helped me with my discipline. Like, I had to make sure, I had manners, I had to speak to my elders a certain way. I had to make sure, I clean up after myself, things like that, like the structured part. So it definitely took a village per se, but my mom definitely instilled some of those freeing values that I still like keep with me today, for sure.
So I know you're speaking from a child's perspective, as you know, this is your mother, and I mean, but I want to ask you, what would be some advice that you would give? Maybe somebody is a parent that's listening right now, and they like, maybe they listen to the show because like they want to get a better understanding of trans folks and our lives and experiences. What would be your advice to a parent in order to raise a child in the way that you were raised?
I would say just do what you can to be a support to your kid, because there's going to be a lot of people in the world that are going to naysay their experience, that are going to try to put them down, that are going to try to bring the worst out of them, like, just be their support system, be their safe zone where they can come to you and like talk about how they feel or talk about their aspirations and their dreams. Like, be there to listen to them, you know what I'm saying? And actually see them, because not feeling seen is a very terrible feeling. If you don't know, if you've never felt that experience, it's not a good experience. So you don't want your child to feel that way. You don't want your child to feel alone when they have you. So that's definitely something I would instill as well. Like, it's just be there for your kid. Like, even if you don't agree per se, like, it's not about agreeing or disagreeing. You know what I'm saying? It's about, because like you never know how your kid's gonna turn out. You just never know. Like, you could think about how kids turn out and do terrible things in the world, and how do you think those parents feel? It's not necessarily their fault, but the thing about it is just being there for your kids. So if anything goes down in a way where their safety is compromised, you want to be able to be a safe place and a safe space for them, because you just never know. And as far as the trans perspective, it's just like humans are ever evolving and ever changing. You never know, like, where that is going to land, where we're going to land, or where we're going to end up. We don't even know. We might aspire to where we're going to land and end up, but we just don't know. So it's like, understand that your kid is ever growing and ever changing. Like, humans are ever changing. People have a weird relationship with change, but for me, I embrace it. Like, I love change because you just never know, like, how much more things, like how better things can get for you, or just where you can end up, or like a perspective shift. Like, you'll just have a perspective shift, and that could change so much for you. So just be very open when it comes to like raising your kid, because you don't want to limit your kid. Like, why would you want to limit your kid if they're ever expansive, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of my tips to just parents, because it's just like, everybody's different. Embrace your different child, because they're going to be different. Even if you want them to fit this mold, in this mold, they're not going to be the same as that. They're going to be them. So let them be the best them they can be. So yeah.
I say this all the time, that if a person feels a love from their family, everything else that the world has to say don't even matter. But if you know you have
Exactly.
that safety and that love and acceptance in your own household, you could take on the world, really.
Hmm.
And me as a parent, I believe that it's not my responsibility. So my son, he just turned 27. It is not my responsibility to tell him what to do with his life. My responsibility in raising him was to make sure that he is a good, responsible, wholehearted person. And whoever he's turned out to be after they say 18, but when he's an adult, then that's on him, right? That's a part of his journey. I can't make those decisions for him. I can't say, oh, okay, I wanted you to go to college, but college may not be in the cards for him, right? Or I wanted you to do this. That may not be his journey. And so as a parent, you have to really be like, okay, this is my child. I'm raising them to be a good person, and that's all that I can do. And then I'm gonna love and support them in other steps and things that they choose to do. Right. So I mean, obviously
Hmm.
not bad decisions. When I'm talking about bad decisions, I'm talking about doing something really catastrophic in
Right.
society. But
Hmm.
I mean, as long as your child is a good person, you have to love and support your child to make those decisions for themselves, and that's just it. And so
Hmm.
I say that I love your mom, but I'm serious. Like, I really have so much love and appreciation for a parent that's going to take the time out to make sure their child is happy and is going to be the person that they're supposed to be.
Hmm.
Right. And I like to see too that I want to say that the universe had your back because for one, your mom already had your name picked out. And then also from her experience as a phlebotomist, she was able to give you your shots. I feel like like everything has
Yeah.
its place and its purpose. And so
Hmm.
that's beautiful. Are you able to give yourself a shot now or your mom still helping you out
Yeah,
with
yeah.
that?
Literally after the eighth shot, I was able to do it myself. But I'm telling you, the first eight, I was like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I was like, you gotta help me out. I would go to her house every week for the first 8 weeks, and I was like, yeah, I need you to help me out. And I was like, after the eighth one, I was like, all right, I think I could do this one, you know. But I was definitely blessed. The universe had my back for sure. Like everything aligned how it needed to, for sure.
Absolutely. When we listen to the calling that's on our lives, whatever way that is, it works out the way that it's supposed to work out. And your mom did a great job, and she listened to what the universe was telling her to do, and she
Hmm.
created this beautiful human being that I'm looking at. I love it. I love it. Hey, this is Sean Aaron. I'm the founder and executive director of Dem Boys Inc. I am also the host of Dem Boys Podcast. As you may know, Dem Boys provides financial assistance to trans men of color in order for them to obtain gender affirming surgery. We have great news. We're currently looking for volunteers to help support our programs. Our programs include our gender affirming surgery grant program and also our personal care package program. We personally curate packages filled with personal hygiene items. Just to name a few, things like tissue, soap, towels, toothpaste, and toothbrushes. We mail them out to trans men of color across the country who may be in need of help caring for their personal hygiene needs. We are looking for volunteers to help raise funds to support our programs. Also, we're looking for someone locally to the Bay Area to help us put all of the care packages together. If our mission is something that resonates with you and you would like to help support our work, just let us know. You can send an email to hello@themboys.org. That is HELLO at DEMBOIS.org. And we will get back to you with further details. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy the next episode. Tell us a little bit about your career. You got a lot of stuff lined up in your bio, lined up in your resume that you do. You want to go ahead first? Tell us about like your musical career.
Yeah, so starting with my music, I've been doing music for I would say a few years now. I mean, I've been musical my whole life, but I really stepped into like putting my music out there and sharing it with other people and performing and things like that, and like just trying to take it to a whole new level, like trying to make it global where people will know my name as an artist. So yeah, 1,000%. I came up with that name because that's just it's either 0% or 1,000% for me. Like I'm very passionate. So like that's just kind of what I bring in when I perform. I was like, you know, it's 1,000%. That's what I bring it. Like, and you know, and you see it when you hear my music. You see it when I perform. But as far as my music, I really do want to like. I've always had the goal to tour. Like I always want to tour. I want to tour at some point in my life, and I know that's something that is in the cards for me for sure. But yeah, I've always loved like just words and music, and I always wanted to find a way to incorporate myself into music. I just never knew that I would be able to be an artist. But then I made that happen for myself. I was like, whether I'm gonna be a producer, I don't know, I'm gonna find a way to be involved in music because I love it so much. And you know, by creating music, I found that that was a puzzle piece for me. So with my music, I really like to share like universal truths and hidden truths about the world and about you know Black people and about just being self-aware. And I really like to bring an elevated vibe to my music by being positive, and bringing stuff that's uplifting rather than creating mantras of this detriment, which is what a lot of the music is. Not to say a lot of music is, but there's a lot of the mainstream music is today. And I want to stray away from like you know, people speaking things that will bring negativity and like detriment to their life without them really realizing it, like understanding the power of words. So as far as my music, that's kind of it's really like a creative outlet, but also I do see it as something like a career really that I'm building up over time. My brother, my oldest brother, on my dad's side, he's like my producer, my manager, and like a lot of my family is musical. So I'm lucky to have my family to be able to help me build my music. And he produces most of my music and he has my back. So it's like he's someone that I can always go to if I need to find a new way to elevate, my sound or, elevate where I want to promote my music and things like that. So that's kind of where I'm at with the music side of things.
So what genre is your music?
I would say it's hip hop, rap, but it's also kind of experimental as well. It has a little bit of like, kind of electronic vibe to it as well, like a mix of electronic and rap. And I'm getting into more like melodic R&B as well over time. That's kind of a goal for me, but I would say hip hop and rap for sure. But I consider myself like an artist, not just a rapper.
I like that. So if somebody listening want to check out your music, where can they find you?
Could find me everywhere. I stream my music to all platforms. So wherever you stream your music, you look up 1000%, 1000%. I actually just came out with a song called Tenfold. It's a new single. I also got a song called Changes that I'm real proud of that came out before Tenfold. But yeah, I got a little discography, so they can listen through and kind of hear my evolution over time because like my music has evolved with me, and I think it will continue to do that.
Love that. So with your music, are you doing videos as well?
Yes, I'm doing videos. I go to shows and perform. I haven't performed in at least half a year. I mean, I wouldn't say half a year. I maybe like 3 4 months, maybe so. And I know Halloween. Last Halloween, I did perform, but I haven't performed in a while. Like how I am used to just trying to go out to a show at least once a week. But with work and kind of being in a new area, it's been difficult. But yeah, like I do music video. I have a music video out, and I do like visuals and stuff for some of the songs I have out now. But yeah, I have some plans for some bigger music videos that are kind of more like more like films, like music films in a way.
So what got you into music?
Really just growing up around it. Like I grew up around like my mom, she has a great music taste, exposed me to so many different like genres and forms of music. My grandfather, being around him, like being, I would go to his house to spend the night and stuff, and I would be upstairs and he'd be downstairs all night just producing music, some of the funkiest sounds I've ever heard. Like I still need some of his sounds so I could use it in my music. But just being around like musicians, artists, and just good music, like soulful music, music that just real music. Like I've been inspired by it and then created my own like taste in music growing up. Just based on just what I listened to growing up, like, into high school, college and stuff like that. And then just being surrounded by creatives, like being around like one of my siblings, my younger sibling, they actually produce, sing, and all the things. So like when we had a spot together, and we were roommates, we literally like would make music all the time. And that was like a part of the fact that I was like, yeah, this is something like this is my calling. Like I really love music. And this is something that I can't live without. So I have to do it.
So you see yourself just performing, or do you like, okay, I want to produce some stuff, I want to write some stuff?
I definitely want to write. I haven't really found a way to step into that lane just yet. I've written songs for other people, but I haven't presented it to them yet. Like I have artists in mind where I'm like, I know that this song would be amazing and it would just blow up with your sound and these lyrics. Like so, I'm gonna start getting into that because like I'm an overall artist. Like I see myself being involved in all types of facets of art, not just music. Like I know I want to explore into my digital and my graphic design side and photography side of art as well. But I know I can incorporate all those things into like my brand as a music artist as well. So yeah, I definitely want to step into different facets of music when it comes to like, producing, and I produce a little bit. Like I produce like one of my songs that are out right now. And then as a kid, like in high school, I would dabble with producing and stuff like that and make songs. Like I have a list, a bunch of tracks that I made when I was younger as well that they were good at the time for sure. But yeah, like, Yeah, I definitely want to get into more, levels and avenues of music as well.
Do you play any musical instruments?
Not really. No. I could play the
Okay.
keyboard, piano. Like if it's on there, I might be able to put together a beat, but I don't really play any instruments. I took guitar lessons for about a year, and that went in one ear out the other. Got a guitar out of it, but yeah, nah, not really. I'm not really into any instruments, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, I used to play clarinet when I was younger. I started playing clarinet when I was in the third grade. I still actually have my clarinet from the third grade.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, and then last year, I bought a bass guitar, and
Oh,
yeah, but I'm not where I want to be yet. I need to practice a little bit more. But yeah, I love music. I feel that too. I'm not a singer. I used to could sing until I transitioned, and then I don't know how to find my octaves
I feel you on
with
that.
my voice. And so I'm like, okay, maybe that wasn't meant to be for me. So I'm gonna leave that where it was at. Yes. So what else do you have going on in your life? You have a bunch of talents that you are currently invested in. What else are you doing?
Yeah, so I actually used to design clothes and stuff, but I've collaborated that with my current venture, which is my gaming team. And I have a esports team, so that's kind of like where a lot of my time goes. We're a gaming like content team as well, where we put out gaming content and videos and funny gaming videos and stuff like that and montages. We put that out on the internet, and I edit that, and I have like a team that they're a part of that, and they're in the videos. They help edit the videos. Like we have a whole network of like creators that I'm managing and just trying to help build into a team where we're self sufficient and we can pretty much monetize on doing what we love, which is playing video games and sharing it with the world. So that is kind of one of my ventures. I also yeah, I'm a videographer, photographer, graphic designer, like everything, motion designer, all types of stuff. So I use those skills to kind of power my social media pages and things like that. Like I'm vegan, so I'm trying to get into saying I'm plant based more because like when people hear vegan, they have all these ideas. So, but like yeah, I'm vegan, so like I share a lot of my journey of being vegan, a lot of things that I cook and make. I share that on my vegan page, and I'm getting into kind of pushing that more and pushing the message of it of it being a good alternative to just try more for people or for people to actually step into that lifestyle just for the benefit of the world. And also just share my journey of just kind of just being a light being, like just sharing the fact that I like creating things from my mind to reality. I'm just sharing that with the world as well. Like that is probably one of my biggest gifts is just being able to idealize things and then actually like bring it into material in the material realm and like creating. So yeah, like literally that's like my biggest thing is just being a creator is to like having all these ideas and then turning them into reality. So that's kind of been my that's like what I do. Like when really like it started with the clothing line and I've done like multiple collections and things like that. And I plan on doing the same thing with it being collaborated with the gaming team, but doing it on a level that's like a global scale where I'm not just like making clothes, I'm like making all types of things, like from furniture to like just everything, gaming equipment, chairs, whatever, like, keyboards, all kinds of stuff. So I'm and even like posters, canvases, things like that. Like those are things that are in the works for my gaming team just to kind of expand.
Okay, so I'm not really into gaming. That's never really been my thing. So please, I'm sure somebody listening to might need this breakdown, but this breakdown is for me. So
Okay,
break
okay.
this down to me as far as how the gaming works specifically. So you say you got a team and you do content around a video game. How does that work? Like what? Give me a game and like give me an example of like how that would work.
Yeah, so there is a lot of avenues within the esports like realm. So the esports is just like competitive gaming, where people compete against other people for money. That's like the biggest avenue of esports is just online tournaments, in-person tournaments, things like that. So that's like an avenue of revenue for gaming. But as far as like the content, it's just like any other influencer, but we are having these experiences in game. We play video games together. We record it. I have like a team of editors, and we put together like funny moments. We'll put together montages of our best moments in game from some of our competitive like players. And then what else? That's and then we share like kind of like things we find in game, like random these things called Easter eggs, which are like things in game that the developers of the game might want you to find. And we like share those things online, weird things we find online, like maybe like some weird cave. Like so Call of Duty is one of our biggest games. That and Apex Legends is another game that we share a lot of content on, and we center a lot of our like just whole team around is those games. So like yeah, so pretty much the monetization part of the creating the content is just from views and like posting it on multiple platforms and gaining an audience from that. But yeah, that's kind of there's a lot of like examples of it. There's a lot of big teams that have paved the way, that have done this, but I'm trying to do it in a bigger way. But I don't know if that makes sense, but like, yeah, literally, like while we're in game, we record our experiences. We have, our mics included. So like for me, I have a whole like overlay where I got a webcam and you got the game and then the chat when I'm live streaming. So like a lot of my members, they live stream as well, live stream video games, and like share their experience that way. But yeah, like there's so many different ways that we promote content, gaming content online. And capture it and edit it and things like that. And a lot of a lot of our content is like kind of funny. Like, it might be a little reel of like something funny that happened in game, including some meme thrown in there within an edit. And that's kind of like what some of our videos, like the content persist of.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That
It's
is
a whole
it.
world to it.
Yeah, that is intense. So are you like looking for sponsors? Is that like kind of like where
Yeah.
you like, okay, all
Yeah,
right.
that's a part of it is like gaining sponsorship. So like that's the next level where I'm working on is like finding sponsors to sponsor the team. So that way we can, keep building.
Hmm. Hey, this is Sean Aaron, the host of Dem Boys Podcast. Are you enjoying the podcast so far? Great. I'm glad that you are. Would you consider donating today to help support the continuation of this podcast? As you know, this podcast aims to serve as a platform to highlight and amplify the voices of trans men of color and share our transition stories. The podcast not only aims to amplify trans men of color voices, but it also raises awareness around our lived experiences. You would like to donate? Where can you donate? Great. I'm glad that you asked. Link in our description will take you directly to Network for Good, whom we've partnered with in order to collect donations for the podcast. Or you can visit our website. On the website, click the donate button, and from there, you are able to donate directly to the podcast. All donations are tax deductible. What does the donations go to? Oh, I'm glad that you asked. Your donation will help to support our production costs. We are working with Jasmine from Pink Lady Productions that brings you this awesome content. And also, we pay our guests an honorarium. Pay our guests an honorarium. Yes, we do. Why? Because as trans men of color, we would like to support and uplift each other and honor the time that's given out to come here and share their stories. So if you love this podcast, share and donate. See you on the next episode. Take care. So my question to you is, do you live a stealth life or are you open?
So I'm kind of hybrid, honestly. Like, if someone were to like, I don't tell a lot of people like at work. I don't think any of them know I'm trans, other than like there's another person at the job that is trans, um, and we know about each other. But like I don't. Online, I share my experience. I'm open about it, but that's why I say it's hybrid. Like online, with people I interact with mostly on the internet, and if I meet people in person, like creatively, I may, share that I'm trans. But Yeah, but I'm stealth at places like work where I have experienced discrimination by being so open. So yeah, like I would say it's definitely kind of a hybrid for me. Like I'm not hiding it, but I'm also not showcasing it, especially with a whole I feel like it's a safety thing as well. With the way the world is currently. I just kind of have to live in that in between where it's like I online, I'm sharing my experience, and sharing who I am as a with my trans experience and everything like that in my journey. But then like in person, especially in the South and being Black, it's like, all these facets I have to consider, like, okay, like adding trans on top of it makes me more of a target, but I'm not ashamed of who I am.
So do you integrate your trans experience through your music and through gaming?
Through gaming, yes, because my whole team, like it's called Space Invaders. We are centered around being inclusive and centered around because the gaming community can be very offensive and hateful. So our whole mission is to create a safe space for gamers to be exactly who you are. And I even have trans folks within my organization, so yes, like with gaming, absolutely. But with music, I haven't really found a way to step into it. Like, which you think that would be an easier one to step into? But like, I with my music, everything comes natural, so it hasn't really hasn't been a thing like where I like rap about my transition or anything like that. But I definitely do want to be more open on that side of it. But I know with the way the music industry is, I mean, I I'm not. I just want to. I don't know. It's like I haven't really brought my transness to the forefront with my music. But with gaming, like yes, absolutely.
So earlier you said about that you wanted to write for other artists, or you had some other artists in mind that you wanted to write for. Are some of these artists trans identified folks, or it's just like just any person that you know that you feel like you could write for?
No, it actually hasn't been any trans artists, but yeah, it's mostly people like that I know personally that make music. Like some of my friends, people I went to college with, like I noticed them making music, and I'm like, oh, I know I could write you a fire song, like and things like that. So it's kind of like with who I interact with. Honestly, a lot of the trans artists I've met, they already are amazing writers and performers. I'm like, you got it, like. So like I haven't necessarily found anybody that I could write for that is trans, but I would love to. Like I definitely would love to.
Mm. You got a lot of shit going on in your life. You got
Yeah,
you're a little bit everywhere. So
true.
my question to you is how do you find some type of a balance? And so specifically I want to say a spiritual balance. And how do you find peace within yourself amongst all of the things that you do?
Yeah, so that actually is something that took so much time for me to find. Because like even when I was younger, I'm just like, I want to do all these things, but my goodness, is it a task? So like now, I really just find balance by just pacing myself and kind of like being like divinely aligned. Like I'm very spiritual. I focus on myself like daily. I really have to every day I wake up, I have the same routine. I watch a video from my spiritual teacher. I have a spiritual teacher on that I follow on YouTube, and she posts videos every single day about the energies in the day based on numerology, astrology, planetary placements, things like that. And I'll watch that every single day based on the day. And then I'll do affirmations. And then I keep a journal. Like I keep multiple journals. I keep a journal of like just what's in my mind needs to go on the page kind of thing, like journal. But then I also have like a journal where I have tasks. So like, as you were saying, like I have so many different things that I have my hand in currently, that literally I'll be like writing, like, so my to-do list will recur throughout these different things. So it'll go between, things I have to do for my music side of things that I have to do for the gaming side of things that I have to do for my own personal content, like channels and things like that. And things I have to do for my vegan page. Like, so the to-do list is continuous. At some point, like I'm almost at the end of my journal where it comes to like my kind of my diary. But like I know for sure my to-do list journal is gonna be at the end at some point because like I keep I keep writing. I just try to keep track of everything and realize that I don't have to do everything immediately. Like if I have an idea of like, oh my God, I need to do this, I'm gonna write it down. And then when I have the time, I'm gonna go through the list of the things I need to do rather than when I have time to do things, scrambling and being like, oh my gosh, what can I get done in this time that I have? Like really just learning to organize everything, just being very organized and just understanding like the priorities of it all. Like for my gaming channel, for example, we don't have to, but I choose to post multiple times a week, like at least 3 times a week. I have to just be ahead of that. I'm in contact with my editors. I'm in contact with the people who are creating content and submitting their videos to be edited. And just making sure that I'm scheduling things ahead. Like as of now, I've got about 3 weeks ahead of like content scheduled. So then I could focus on something else. Like I could focus on my own personal content. Like, for example, I just moved. So I'm trying to like, share my journey of moving and just vlogging more and just kind of just showing my lifestyle a lot more. So that is something that I'm, just understanding that it's going to take a shift of focus, is just understanding that focus is everything. And that is going to be the key to balance. Like it's understanding that, where you focus your mind and your effort and your energies is where things are going to grow. So like, just kind of just juggling that I would say that's how I find the balance is just juggling, that's life, kind of like, I compare it to like a trapeze act is like swinging to fix and balance one thing and then swinging to the other side and fixing and balancing this other thing and just keep going back and forth and just going with the swing of life really while still maintaining like a balance of my actual physical and mental and spiritual at the same time. So
That's a really good analogy. I like
yeah, I
that.
can't
Like,
take credit. It's my therapist definitely helped me with that
okay,
one.
well, thank you to the therapist, but that's
Yes, yes.
definitely a good analogy. But I want to ask you this: out of all of those things that you said, right, of like journaling and listening to things in the morning, what do you do in the moment of downtime, where it's none of that stuff, all of that it goes away? What do you do for you, for self care?
I listen to myself. That's the biggest thing is how I'm feeling. Like literally just asking myself, how you feel? Are you good? Like what do you need? Like and then doing that for myself. Like literally if I'm not in a space where I want to be doing a bunch of work, like I won't. I give myself grace. I think the biggest thing is just allowing myself grace and understanding that I don't have to finish everything at once. Like I used to be that way where it's like, okay, well, if I made this to-do list, well, I need to complete it. Like, no, if I didn't complete it today, I'm gonna complete it tomorrow. Like one thing that I heard from someone online is like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. I'll do it when I can, and I'll get to it when I'm gonna get to it. I'm not gonna press myself or bully myself into getting things done because for me, like I don't operate that way. I had to learn how am I productive? Like where am I at when I'm at my peak production, rate? And it's when, I've given myself grace and I know that, I'm doing the best I can and understanding that. So I think that probably just giving myself grace and listening to myself and, self-care, it's an everyday thing for me. Like that's why those affirmations, like speaking life into myself is like really important because I would say like at first I didn't really, I would say years and years ago, I didn't think affirmations, like I knew affirmations were a good thing, but it didn't really impact me. I was like, I don't get it, I don't get affirmations. But then now it's like it's something that has changed my whole life. Like speaking life into myself every day, like speaking peace and love and joy into myself every single day is like so vital to just me maintaining a balance. Like even when I don't feel my best, I speak my best into myself, like, and I keep it together. Like my higher self always can pull me up. So
The reality is nobody can love you like you can love yourself. No one
hmm
can take care of you as like you could take care of yourself. So it's very important that um, you make space for self care, make space for the affirmations and all the things that amongst swinging on the trapeze,
right.
you're able to maintain your mental health and clarity and balance for yourself. So
hmm
I love that. I love that. So this is the part of the show where I like to ask the guest a random question. I got a list that's growing. I'm on 40 questions now. And
All right.
so the questions may or may not have anything to do with what we talked about today, but I want to do something different today with you. I will actually have a question that I just came up with the other day that I think will fit what we talked about today. So the other day I was driving, this was like 2 days ago. I was driving and this guy was walking on the street and the back of his shirt said, success requires obsession. So this is number 40. So I stopped, I pulled the car over. So I didn't do this while I was driving, y'all. So don't do this.
Yeah,
I
don't
didn't
do
pull
that.
out my phone while I was driving. I pulled over and I wrote this down. Success requires obsession. And so the question is, do you believe in this statement? That's the part one. What does the statement mean to you? And how do you translate this into your life?
That's actually perfect. Yeah.
It is.
So
It is, right?
success, yeah, absolutely. So I do believe that. I believe that success takes obsession because I think obsession is like a form of passion, really. Like, is a form of like that need in your life to have it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but like, yeah, what it means to me is like literally like wanting it so bad that's all you think about, that's all you want. You just like the next. What if you have like for example, you got free time? I want to work on building that thing that is going to make me successful. Like so, yeah, like absolutely. I think that it just means like you have to be passionate about what you want. Like literally, like that saying, like you have to want it more than you want to breathe. Like that, if you want it that bad, then it's yours. You're gonna have it, but you have to be obsessed with it in order to have it. I feel like that's how manifestation works. You have to be obsessed with it. You have to visualize it. You have to see it before it even it comes into fruition. So I think that is kind of what that means. Success takes obsession. I absolutely believe that. And how I implement it is my everyday. That's my everyday. Like, I wake up and have ideas and I have visions of where I want to take the current ventures that I'm working on. And I know that they are going to come into fruition the way I want them to, or even better than I even imagined. But it's like it takes that staying on top of its head and being like, I'm going to keep that consistency. I think the part of the obsession part is that consistency, is staying consistent, because a lot of people think, oh, it's about how hard I work, but it's about how much you invest into it, time wise, energy, whatever. Like investing that time into yourself, investing into those ventures that you want to see grow into something, into an amazing magnitude. You have to believe it. Obsession also takes belief and faith. You really have to see it and believe it for yourself, no matter what anybody says. Like whatever a naysayer says, like you have to believe that it is going to happen. And that is the obsession part, is you're obsessed with the truth, your truth, that you are successful, that success is yours.
That was beautifully said. And I want to tell you this. When I saw that on his shirt, and the reason why I wrote it down, because I read it, but I didn't actually get it. And I'm like, is that true? I'm thinking to myself, is that really true? But the way you just broke it down, it just opened up my mind to the actual statement. And I want to thank you for that. And so, and I also earlier I said about how the universe things happen for a reason. That was 2 days ago. I knew I was going to be talking to you today, right? And I wrote that down. So that question was specifically for you to answer, to give me a little bit of clarity and to also
Yes.
to give somebody listening clarity. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for sharing your take on that. So is there any last bits of advice or any last things you want to say before we go?
Yeah, I did want to share that, like, really early in my transition. I mean, I'm sure you remember when you were doing like the care packages. You remember doing the care packages. I got one of those care packages
Oh wow.
really early in my transition, and I did a lot for me. Like, you know
Wow.
what I'm saying? Like, just knowing that there's an organization out there that cares enough to send me, stuff that I need and I could use. You know what I'm saying? So I actually received one of the Dem Boys, care packages like really early in my transition, when I was just looking up organizations that could help and that could just, be of support and of like a trans man, that is growing. So I just want to say thank you for like all you do. Yeah, I appreciate you because you have such an impact on guys like us, and yeah, it goes a long way. Like, so yeah, and it's an honor to be on this podcast because like you've been supporting me before you even really like met me, spoke to me, all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Wow. God damn you. You get that made that made me emotional because the everything that this organization does is based on experiences that I've had in my life. And I don't know if you heard the podcast previously, but the episode 3, I believe, surviving homelessness. And the care packages were created because it was a time in my life where I didn't have those exact items that came in that care package that I did not have access to. And so they're provided for folks that are either that just need them. There is no explanation, right? No questions asked. You are a trans man of color, which is the only requirement. And just to know that you got those items and you benefited from them, it just does something to me in my spirit. And it's the reason of why the work is being done. And so I'm so glad that you got that. Wow. Thank you for that, for sharing that.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I appreciate you. Thank you for being a guest. It was a pleasure to meet you, hear your story. This was just great. Thank you so much.
Yes, and thank you. I appreciate it.
So we have reached the end of this episode. I want to say thank you for listening to Dem Bois Podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Sean Aaron, he, him, his. Be sure to visit our website at dembois.org. That is DEMBOIS.org. If you would like to connect with us, be sure to follow us on Instagram or Facebook. If you think you would be a great guest on the show, or if you know somebody you think would be a great guest on the show, there's multiple ways to request to be a guest on the show. First is you can go visit our Instagram page, click the link in our bio, and from there you'll be able to request to be a guest on the show. Or you can visit our website, click the programs tab up top, scroll down to podcast, click the podcast button, and from there on the podcast page, you'll be able to request to be a guest on the show. Yo, we need questions, y'all. If you have those burning questions, a question that you want to ask me or a future guest on the show, there's multiple ways that you can send in questions, right? So first, you can go to Instagram, DM us that question, or you can email us at hello@dembois.org. That's HELLO, like hi, at dembois.org. Be sure to like the show. Be sure to share this show out with your friends and other folks in your networks. So until next time, take care.